Well, I'm just going to share my screen. So, start one. All right. So today we're going to be talking about this epic around organization of branches. It covers different aspects of ways we can introduce organization of branches. One of them is archiving branches that exist already in a repository. Introducing bulk actions, so a way to select one or more branches to either delete or archive. And the other stuff is just reorganizing branch listings. And and the final one is like introducing like filtering for branches. Um, I'll just quickly go through like what archiving branches is all about right now. Um, and this whole session is about to like call me out on anything like why are we doing this? Like what's going on? Like anything. Like this is just to increase our connection between the crazy ideas I have versus reality. So archiving branches is something where it's it's like a way of hiding a branch, but we're just creating tags from the branches. So then the idea is that branches on this list will disappear and then will live on as tags. So if you archive this this branch, um, we will like save it as a tag and it disappears from the list of branches. But then if you go to the tags, you'll see it there. So in a
So this is
repository,
something, is it okay to ask questions during
yeah,
the
yeah, you can ask,
presentation?
you can ask
So
during.
this is something we don't have right now, right? This
No,
feature. Or,
we don't have this right
Mhm.
now. No.
So this is a suggestion.
Mm, yes, and so if you follow the issue around archiving branches, it has come up in the past,
Mm-hmm.
and there's
Mm-hmm.
different ways to like kind of think about it. And it was just a suggestion somewhere inside one of these comments that one potential way of doing it is
Mm-hmm.
to just tag the branch. And so by tagging the
Mm-hmm.
branch, you kind of move the problem of having this gigantic list from branches to like the world of tags. So
But
it
does
makes
it create a problem of like too many tags, or it's not a problem?
it will that's what it is. It's kind of like deferring that problem to tags, but the purpose of like reducing the number of branches here is if you're cloning or if you're like selecting a branch from a list or just looking at all like your branches, you don't have the problem that we have in like GitLab right now where we have like 16,000 branches in our branches list. And
Yeah,
the question,
I just like the thing I because like I really hear about this right now for the first time. I don't know, maybe it wasn't your presentation, but I missed it for some reason.
Hmm.
So like for me, the question is why we save branch as a tag? Like why, for example, we don't create just archived branches, for example. So why we created why we save branch as a tag when there is no such tag? And like it's just a question. Like for me, like I mean, yeah.
So creating it as a tag is one way. What was the other way that you suggested there? A link or did you
Just
say?
have archived like for example, there is branch you think that oh, like it's not an active branch, but I also like I don't want to delete it for some reason. Maybe I will need it in the future. You can just have arch, arch, like archived branches, for example. Like I don't know. I just yeah, just an idea.
Yeah, it's probably a matter of representation, the archive branches in the Git repo. Yeah, it's probably Yeah, actually, when I'm seeing this feature right now, yeah, my first question in my head was how will we represent it in our like repo? Yeah, will it be because, for example, when you archive the branch, yeah, you don't want it to be deleted, yeah, and maybe let me start from the question first. What do we want to do with an archived branch? Do we want to restore it at some point, or what is the purpose of those branches? Yeah, why do we still keep them around? Why we don't delete them permanently? What is the use case?
Oh, Michael, I'll let
Yes.
you chime
Yeah.
in, but that, just so everyone knows that there's an issue. Also, we can summarize it, but there's an issue open for adding the ability to archive branches. Let me just put it in the chat. That issue has a lot of use case examples of users who have reached out about, some of them saying that deleting a branch would break existing functionality. So they just want to declutter the UI and hide it from the view because it's going to stay there forever, but it's not necessarily a useful information or information that they're intending to use to create, you know, sub branches, or, you know, like it's just something that they want to keep because it's needed for existing functionality.
Yeah, like I think that this is like the idea to have active branches is sort of clear, because like you might be like, okay, I just don't want it right in the list of active branches, but I also don't want to delete it for some reasons, like what we sometimes do with chat in WhatsApp, or I don't know. But yeah, for me, what is not clear is like why we save it as a tag, because it's like
Gotcha.
tags and the branches are different things, right? So you create a tag for one reason and you create a branch for another reason. And yeah, this moment for me is a little bit not clear. Maybe I'm not.
Yeah, Natalia, if I may, I think these examples that are in the issue probably explain it a bit better. But there's a bunch of if you, I'm thinking about a couple of alternatives that we could use to like store the SHA of the commit or something like that, because then it has the parent SHA. It could be something that we built on GitLab's focus, but then it's not at Git level. By doing it as a Git tag, if you end up importing the repository or forking the repository or everything, that tag will go with it. And it's a bit more like you won't lose it. You won't lose that pointer or something. So you still have the option of deleting the whole branch and just losing it completely.
Maybe, yeah. Maybe yes, but like if you want to create a tag, you can just go to tags and create a tag, right? From that branch.
Sure.
So there
But
is
here you're
already a
managing
way
branches.
to solve these issues. Yeah.
Right.
So, but when I manage branches, I want to manage branches. I don't want to create a tag. So it's like, I think it will create a confusion for the users because we have branches and we have tags. This is two different functionalities. And why,
let me ask you this. So once you saw the option that Michael had there on the dropdown to archive the branch, if you did archive the branch as a tag, if you didn't want to use a tag, you wouldn't choose that option, right? So you'd go for deleting the branch or not do anything at all there. So I guess, even though I understand the confusion that might come for some users, I just doing some quick searches, and that's one of the ways that people recommend on Stack Overflow and stuff to archive branches is through tags, with a lot of consensus around that answer. So I don't think it's completely like unheard of to do it as a tag, although it might not be clear for everybody. It doesn't strike me as long as it's.
Why are you sure that they exactly don't mean that you should go to that and create a new tag from that branch, and this way you will archive the branch? So
sure, this makes it simpler. I mean, we still have the option to create the tag directly, but this just makes it
okay,
easier.
I think I got your point. So this will save the extra thing you will need then to delete the branch.
Yeah. Got it.
And also the use case is to keep the same reference that you have, but remove it from the branch list. So yeah, because I heard that it may break them existing functionality. Yeah, so we still want to keep the reference, but we don't want it to be a branch. Because as Natalia mentioned, as if I understand it correctly, one of the options would be to move it to some particular namespace, like archives slash branch. But in this case, you will break you will change the reference name, so it doesn't kind of work for this particular use case. Yeah, this is why I asked the original use case for this one.
Yeah. So I went through a little exercise to show like what it happens. Like, so if you tag it and then you delete the branch and you push all that inside our details, like the branch that was there, like it used to be called Apple and then it got deleted. Now it lives on as a tag. And inside our commit list, it's tagged here. And then if you create a new branch from that tag and you go back to the detail view, it actually shows up in the detail view like this. I have no idea like how this actually like pans out in other dependencies and other things like that where it has a branch name, but from a traceability standpoint, I think like that path is still there and useful. But yeah.
But this one, it actually changes the reference. So we like
the reference ID.
because I believe by convention we plan to create we plan to create a tag with the prefix, with some particular prefix, like archive.
Yeah, like this,
with some hard-coded, like conventional prefix. Yeah, so in this case, it's breaks the reference. And so it's not particularly a problem, but it's something to keep in mind. So when we're looking for a solution,
I think
because it's possible to create or we can create a tag with the same name as the branch. We struggled with some issues with the tag and the branch overlap. But it's actually possible. So maybe to avoid the confusion, we can call it not like archiving, but like moving branch to a tag or something like this. But
Michael,
it's possible to create this thing. Yeah, sorry.
So a question I have is like, we can start by forcing this prefix, but later on iterating to allow the user to specify a name for the archive, right?
Like this prefix part.
Yeah. For now, we can have it fixed, but later on we can ask the user, hey, this is the name that we're suggesting. Do you want to rewrite it to something else? And then just let them name the tag. And this would allow what Igor's saying to just rename it the same as the branch was. So I'm just saying that we can iterate here. It doesn't have to come directly right away on the first version on the MVC.
Okay.
And one point to mention, sorry for interrupting, but also why I asked the question, what is the primary reason why we're introducing it? If the primary reason is to restore the branch at some point, then for example, we can let me just mention this idea. We can move it to a tag, but at the same time, we can store the data in the database. Like Andrea mentioned that we can store the SHA of the commit, and store the data in the database. And at some point, we could restore the branch from the commit SHA and have it again. But the problem is that when you migrate or fork the repo, the data is lost. So also one of the options.
Point, I do want to build on your point. So I put in the chat like an example of one of the comments when James had asked for why people wanted that. So the person saying, if needed, we'll need to work on these again. Branch for an old release, but usually it would be nice to add these. So basically people want to like this user wants to have a way to hide them, declutter the UI, and then if need be. So basically like the way that like when he says release for an old release, so they probably like this user probably uses like a release branching strategy, right? Where they have certain releases. Like when I used to work in games, we use that quite a bit, right? Where it's like you've got like release 1.1, release 1.2, release 1.3, and then those releases you want to make sure that you're keeping it, because if you ever need it again, right, or you need to branch from that release again for some reason, right, go back to like a certain release and then branch from there, or cherry pick something from there, or, you know, whatever the reason, you want to be able to access it, right, and bring it back again as something that can be displayed. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Especially for project with a lot of releases, this will be heaven sent, because then you won't have like hundreds of branches just stale forever. Yeah.
So part of that is in tags, there's this like minor feature, create branch from a tag. So if you click on that, then you can create a branch from this. This is very similar from what we have today with the new branch, where you specify the name and then you select from a dropdown what tag, SHA, or branch name you want to create the new branch from. But this is kind of just taking that same idea and just doing that.
Okay, great. I have a question. This
Yeah.
will be only for these archive branches, or is it like a new functionality for all the tags?
So this one, I would say like it exists for all tags. Like this feature to create a branch from a tag, it would be useful for any tag. So
Okay,
possibly
thanks.
could spin that off as a separate like issue, like a smaller piece of work.
Where does that branch from?
Where does this branch from?
Like, what's the origin of the branch?
What do you mean origin?
Like, I mean,
It would be the head of the tag, right?
the head of the tag?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Right.
And also just a question.
Mhm.
For example, if we compare two solutions, if we still plan to create a tag with a particular prefix, if we consider the same approach, but creating a branch with this prefix instead and hiding the branches or with a particular prefix from the list. What are the advantages and disadvantages of both approaches? What do you think?
Same question as mine.
To me, they're both references, so it's just like one is like you just rename the branch, right? Or are you creating a new branch with that name? Like which one?
Kind of renamed, yeah.
It even can be like not renamed, right? But it can have maybe like as we now have stale, so it can have some flag like archive. So you even don't, it will be showed in a different list, but you even don't need, for example, to rename it. So.
Yes, like you that is definitely another solution. And I feel like that was something that I didn't really explore, as in like if you say archive, it's kind of like hide this from the list. Yeah, good idea. Let's take that discussion. I'll ping you some questions. I'll ping you some questions on this on that question itself.
And just one last crazy idea. If, for example, we consider this approach for renaming a branch, putting it into archives category, maybe we could also like introduce the convention, if you prefix the branch with any prefix, prefix and slash and your name of the branch. Maybe we could introduce like tree view for branches, so you could see like the folders, like archives, then like you see the branches, or
Some
for
IDEs do that.
example, yeah, like IDs, and for example, sometimes I put my initials in front of the branch when I create it, yeah, so I could see the list of branches created by me. Just a crazy idea, so or maybe not so crazy. So
Yes, possible. Cool. So I'm just gonna whip through some of this stuff. Bulk actions. At the moment, we have one bulk action, which is delete merged merged branches. And I don't know if you know, but the merge state is kind of like this pseudo state to me, where it's just 0 commits behind. So if you created a new branch, it would be 0 commits ahead. So therefore, if you clicked delete merged branches, it would delete that new branch that you just created. And this is why we removed the label merged from the list of branches. And this kind of pissed off a few people who use that label to determine which branches have been merged. And those people don't use merge requests, so they just manually merge their things. That aside, I want to get rid of delete merge branches, and if we have the ability to archive branches, I feel that having a bulk edit flow to control this list would be ideal. To like select specifically which branch you want to delete or archive. Yeah, we do this in many different ways within GitLab. I think the patterns are slightly all over the place, but this is like a pattern that I think is very common. I would say that this is not like immediate. Like I think it's like maybe we do archive first, and if we do that, then we introduce this thing. But if you're managing like many pages of branches, this could be useful. Does anyone have any comments on this, on the bulk actions?
Yeah, I think it is really cool.
And just maybe like one quick question about the workflow. So with the filtering of branches at the top, so theoretically I could go filter for a certain type, but a certain branch. The list that comes up, I could select all and then create bulk edit for that filter, correct?
Yes, that's the ideal kind
Yeah,
of
that's cool.
end game. Yeah.
And I actually just got one more question.
Yep.
So we have an option to delete, but do this, like if we delete it completely. So there is no way to view your deleted branches, right?
That's correct. Yep.
Okay, but like, for example, yeah, because as you told that users were complaining that they deleted some branches, they actually like were not intended to delete because they were confusing the merge thing. So for example, also if there is a list of deleted branches that could solve with the same bulk action, for example, where you can select the branches you want to restore, it could also potentially solve the issue, and it don't like but yeah, maybe some branch, for example, they can have it for some time, but at the end, yeah, if they delete it, they maybe also want to go it completely. So I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, go ahead.
and no, go for it, Joe.
I was going to say, have we considered the workflow when you're deleting branches that do have changes? Because normally, like when you delete all of the merge branches, you're essentially you're not deleting any work. You're just deleting the references that have no new commits. But with this flow, I can see that you can actually select, branches that have new commits, or even there's one here that has a merge request that's open. Have we considered, how we'll protect against that? Like potentially, like they'd have to type in, like when you delete a repository, you actually have to type in the name of the repository to be able to perform that action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think the existing rule still holds. Like if there's an MR attached to it, then you can't delete it like that. I believe that's the case right now. I'll double check, but we have a bunch of scenarios that you can't delete. Like if you don't have the ability to like manage to protect the branch, like if it's protected and you don't have the permissions, you can't delete that protected branch, right?
But even if it's not protected, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
So, for example, here you've got feature branch 123 has 5 commits in it.
Right. So like this example here, like
Yeah,
this
or
one.
that one.
Yeah. Okay. Bad example. So yeah, fair enough.
So what happens if someone, so we would remove the delete merge branches button, correct?
Yeah, and replace it with
So,
bulk edit.
and why would we be removing it? Is it because we don't think it's useful, or is it because we think someone can replicate the same workflow with the bulk edit workflow?
Someone can replicate and be more granular with their deletion with the bulk edit. If you try delete merge branches today, it's this blind action where we
Okay.
just say we're just gonna delete some stuff, wait for a bit, and hope it's okay. Natalia did bring up a good scenario, like maybe display the list of branches that you're gonna delete and say, yeah, cool. And I think that was our original designs, but when we went to implementation, the query to pull back all the list of branches that are to be deleted was like too complex, or like it takes too long. So we just said, yeah, we're gonna delete like 50 branches, type in the repository name to confirm. So that's the flow now, where it's 50 blind branches that you're deleting. 99%, 90% of the time, I think like when people are using it, they're like cool with deleting everything, but from a flow standpoint, I don't like it at all. So then, as in like you have you don't know what's going on, so you can make a mistake.
Also, I believe Michael mentioned in the beginning that merged flag is not so reliable. Yeah, so when a branch is marked as merged, it not always means that the branch was merged. Sometimes it means that it was just created. Yeah, as far as I understood.
Yes. Yeah.
But I never thought about it. But yeah, it makes sense. So sometimes you can just remove the branch that was just created because it has zero divergence with the main branch, and it's considered as if it merged.
So we're at time right now, I think. So we can talk about the other things a separate time, or we can speak about it offline. But like this is good. I love the questions. So
Yeah,
I
I
actually
think
have to jump. But
I
yeah.
was gonna say, I think we could, like, I don't know if everyone else agrees, but I think it would be great to have another session like this to walk through some of this.
Okay.
Like, I
Okay.
mean, like maybe like if you plan another session, so I'll make sure to review the complex filtering. Like I didn't get to that, so I'll make sure to like review this in the meantime. But like I think the discussion is interesting and brings some like really good points.
I'd also like to talk about the rollout and how we're going to be splitting each piece independently, because a lot of these seem independently able to roll out. So another session would be great.
Yeah, awesome. I'll set that up. All right, thanks everyone.
Thank
All right,
you.
bye.
All right.
Thanks, Michael.
Bye.